This is TWiT.
All right, the day has finally come. Megan, roughly 6 weeks ago, Megan and I embarked on a most excellent adventure as we traded our prized possessions with each other. Megan handed over her iPhone 10. I handed over my Pixel 2 XL. And then Megan surprised me with a 6-week deadline, 2 weeks longer than we did this last year. And I think we're both ready for just a little bit of normalcy to return to our lives. But before that happens, we got to talk a little bit about what we learned this time.
No, that was part of it.
Yeah, we got to talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
What did you learn, Megan?
I learned that I was more flexible. Speaking of yoga, I was more flexible than I thought I was, and certainly more flexible than last year. Like it sort of became pretty easy to use right away. And I don't blame Android for the problems I had. I do blame Apple's closed ecosystem, and I blame myself because I didn't. You have to go in and physically sign out of iMessage. I didn't do that, so a lot of my messages were lost, and that was most frustrating thing. And then the not knowing if your messages were lost, and then you turn back into a teenager, and you're like, "Did you text me? No, I didn't text you." That sort of thing was just made me feel very uneasy. I will really miss the camera a lot. It is a great camera. If you can bring up this, I just tweeted out a picture that I took basically in the same place in our house of my dog, and neither look great. They're on Twitter, but and you're probably watching them through another filter. But I think they together next to each other, they both look bad somehow. But the portrait mode in the Pixel 2 XL is pretty amazing. And when I looked at all the pictures that I've taken, that's what made me feel sad that I'm going to hand the phone back.
Well, and they're different, very different technologies doing this. On the iPhone 10, you've got the two cameras, and so that's actually able to kind of determine the differential between the two cameras and be able to say this, that differential is what gets blurred out in the background, whatever. And on the Pixel 2, I mean, it's interesting that you feel like they're on par, because I would think that mechanically you would have an advantage in that sort of computational photography. But on the Pixel 2, I mean, it's all Google and their artificial intelligence, going to work on this photo and determining what's in the foreground and what's in the background. And they've even rolled out some updates to the hardware, or to the software running on that particular hardware, that improves that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great camera. Over the weekend, Leo and I spoke to someone from DP Reviews, an expert a scientist about the computational photography and the difference. And he also prefers the Pixel 2 XL. I mean, he said they're both, for their own reasons, they have advantages. But like in terms of a smartphone camera, the Pixel 2 wins on that. So I also have this bag of, before I hand over the phone, I have this bag of garbage.
Oh, okay. A junk bag.
Open that.
I can go ahead and open this.
That's
here we've got some
bunch of chargers.
Now, I didn't give these to you.
No, those are actually from Florence Ion. Florence lent me two smartwatches.
Wireless chargers.
Two Android watches. Oh, and yeah.
This was my old case?
No, you didn't have a case.
Didn't I? Oh, no, that's right. I had a case on the Pixel.
I had to buy that case.
My first, okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
And then, that watch that's almost as big as my head.
Yeah, this is a big watch.
And the battery never lasted throughout the day.
LG Sport, I believe. LG Watch Sport. Something like that. Yeah, I'm probably not going to wear that.
Yeah.
Then we've got the charger for the LG Watch Sport. We've got the LG Style, or is that what it is?
Yeah, the LG Style.
LG Style, that's Florence's. I'll make sure she gets that. And then this, which I will definitely wear because of all the bling. This is the Michael Kors
Sophia, the Michael Kors Sophia, which doesn't have real diamonds on it.
Hey, you want to buy a watch?
Yeah.
Want to buy a watch? I got a watch right here.
So those all failed.
All failed. So
yeah.
you just didn't enjoy the wear experience.
No, the battery didn't last. And then when the battery goes out, you had to repair it. It was a pain. I didn't willingly give up my Apple Watch because last year you barely wore it. You don't like watches. So I wasn't even going to mention the watch. I was trying to MacGyver my Apple Watch to work with the Android phone. And I got a lot of things to work those first couple weeks. And then Florence had to come and rain on my parade and say, why didn't you give why didn't you give him the watch? Isn't he wearing the watch? And I was like, oh, do you want the watch?
I guess I gotta do that.
So the watch has only been gone for a month, but I missed that more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you liked it more than anything.
You'll get it back. Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the shining moments in the past month that I've had it, is that I've actually been very eager to wear it, which, I mean, I went for a very long time without wearing any watch. And then Android Wear did the wearable thing, and I wore watches for a while and did the wear thing. And then I just kind of lost interest because I felt like I was being notified to death. Like, I don't need to be that close to all of my notifications. And so then I stopped wearing it. And then also just Android Wear, I just feel I mean, it's okay. People are happy. Some people are happy with it. I just felt after a while that I just kind of got bored with it. It wasn't really offering anything that I needed, and so I stopped. And then you gave me the Apple Watch, and yeah, I mean, I've been wearing this for the past month. I like the style of it. I like the kind of design of it is really solid. It just feels like a nice piece of hardware, you know, that I look forward to wearing. Drop it on the wireless charger at night. I don't know what I'm trying to figure out is, what is the real actual difference here? Is it that it's more tightly integrated with iOS, and I like that integration compared to what Wear is with Android? I feel like they do very similar things. They all do about the same thing. I just feel like there's a fit and finish to the Apple Watch experience that I feel personally is lacking on Android Wear, and I liked it this time around. Plus, it's not round. Well, and you know, that's been kind of something that you and I have gone back and forth on, where I've been really into the round, and I still like round. I think round is a great way to go, because let's face it, watches have been round and clocks have been round for a very, very long time. So I think it's good to have that option, but it hasn't bugged me that this is rectangular at all. Yeah, so that hasn't really gotten. Because I think then it's easier for your brain to go from here to here when it's, you know, it just is the same. It's a similar screen. And I mean, there's just a lot of that's one of the big differences between iOS and Android, is that I know everyone makes fun of it. It just works, because it doesn't always work. Nothing always works every time. But you didn't have to set anything up. It just started recording your activity. Like you never started a workout or anything like that. You know, you didn't have to do anything. You were just like, oh, look at that. It's tracking my steps. Yep. It is seeing how much I worked out. Because like every time I do a workout, I set the workout. But you said you never even did that. I never even did that. And we talk a little bit about this on today's episode of Know How. We go into detail on kind of like the app experience and everything. So if you want more details, you can check that out. But yeah, absolutely. The quantified self stuff, the data that I never have really cared that much about. I found when I actually jumped into the apps on the iPhone that kind of tracked that stuff, I was really impressed with the detail, kind of the level of clarity that it gives you on that. I don't know what I do with that information, I guess, is the question that I have. But it's interesting to know that I have access to it. And definitely, you know, I don't know if you can see on the watch, the circles thing. I don't know what that's called. But the rings. The rings. Your activity rings. Over time, I kind of learned what those were all about. And it was interesting to kind of go back and know that when I was wearing the watch, that information was being generated, and to kind of, you know, determine, hey, Thursday was a good day. What did I do on Thursday? What did I do at 1 o'clock? Oh, that's right. I went to the dog park and chased my dog around. It was just kind of an interesting way to look at things that you kind of take for granted, your everyday life. You know, thought it did a good job. Gestures, I thought, were pretty much second nature. That's something you learn really quick on the iPhone 10, because it doesn't have the home button. So you have to kind of learn the gestures and how to swap between apps in a multitasking sort of way, which once a user pointed that out, I used it nonstop, never had a complaint going forward. So that was great. Face Unlock, of course, it has the hardware at the top for Face Unlock. One thing I really liked about that is when I've got my notifications hanging out, you know, you have that little lock up at the top, but if you stare at it for a second, that will unlock. And those notifications that were before just obscured and just said like ring, once your face is recognized, it will give you all of the information of those notifications. You know, you might see, instead of just that you got a text message, you'll see who it was from and what the text message was. It automatically reveals. I've noticed on Android devices like Samsung that has the Face Unlock feature or Iris Unlock feature. Instead of that, it will just go, great, you're in, and it'll take you to your home screen. And it's like, well, but I still want to see what was in my notifications there. I couldn't see it before, and now it unlocked automatically and jumped me to my home screen. Maybe that's a setting that I could determine, but I like the way that they do that on iOS. I feel like it was the right way to do it.
And a lot of people commented that we never talked about the Samsung smartwatch either, like the Gear 360.
The Gear S3.
Or S3.
Yeah, the Samsung Gear S3 is the watch that I think a lot of people are, it ties in. It's not Android Wear.
Right. So we didn't cover that this year. Maybe next year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have that watch, so I couldn't give it to you, but a lot of people are very pro Gear S3 as far as that's concerned. Trying to think of things that we haven't already talked about. I kind of gave up on Siri, to be honest. Like, I stopped thinking I should check Siri for this, and because I just half the time wasn't getting what I wanted out of Siri. I didn't spend as much time this time around with the camera. And I think it's interesting that you pointed out that you love the camera on the Pixel. I'm trying to figure out if there's some similarity in my reason for not using the camera here. I think the camera is great. I just really didn't play around with it very much. I thought I was going to mess around with it more. Maybe my life is just not as camera-able right now.
Good. Yes. Stop and slow down and take photos.
Yeah. Apparently I do. Of course, I was sick for a week of the 6 weeks that we did this, so I wasn't taking any pictures for that week. But overall, I think we talked about this also a little bit earlier. It's adaptability. Like, it's very easy for me to drop into iOS now. I'm very happy that we did this last year and this year, because I no longer can hide behind the fact that I don't understand how iOS works because I've never used it. I feel really comfortable with it now. It's not my preferred platform. I prefer Android, but I'm happy to know iOS on a deeper level, and that's what we get out of doing this. Do we switch back now?
Yeah.
Is it time?
I guess we do.
Is it time? Of course, we'll have to wipe things, the data and stuff.
And my germs probably too.
Probably, but that's okay because I have it back. Oh, Pixel, I have you back. Oh, this is what it's like to hold the Pixel.
But, I said this on Know How too. It's just a phone.
Yeah, exactly. It is. We're so used to our own platform, but really when it boils down to it, does it do the things you want it to do? Yes, both phones make calls, both phones receive text messages, allow you to surf the internet, and install pretty much identical apps. That's just different ecosystems, and that's probably the big part of that. So cool. Next year, are we doing another one?
Yes, 4 weeks next year. I'm sorry. Or however long you want to do it next year.
Oh, I get to pick.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to that.